All right. Well, hello, and welcome everyone to our BG5 Live. Great to have each and every one of you here with us. And today is March 9th, 2021. This is episode number 95. And today we're going to be taking a look at trait number 22. And we're going to take a look at trait number 22 in quality 3. And what we're going to be exploring is openness in preparing for crisis. So before we get started, let's say hello to our panel. So let's start with Anna. Hey, Anna, welcome.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Great to have you here. Welcome, welcome. And let's go to Natalie. Hey, Natalie, welcome.
Yay, happy to be here and happy to have our special guest.
Yes,
If he is paying
exactly.
attention. Hello.
Excellent. And I'll go to Linda and then I'll go to our special guest. So Linda, welcome. Great to have you join us.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here. Greetings from the Netherlands.
Yay, great to have you here. And Juan Jose, welcome. Great to have you join us today.
Hello. I am the special guest.
You are the special guest.
Thank you very much.
So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. My pleasure.
It's always a pleasure to have you join us. So thank you so much, Juan Jose, for joining us. And my name is Karen Sherwood, and welcome to our BG5 Live. So let's dive in and let's take a look at this openness in preparing for crisis. Now, last week I've messed this whole slide up, so I did fix it this week. So hopefully it's correct. I really messed it up last week. So March is an interesting month. It's this journey of logic, crisis, and innocence. That's what we have in the month of March. So we started last week with doubt in the 63. Doubt is an essential inspiration. I think I even had that wrong last week. So doubt is an essential inspiration. Today, we are in openness. This is about grace. This is about sharing spirit with others when in the mood. And next week, we move into crisis. So you can see this 22 prepares us for the crisis of the 36, the darkening of the light, and waiting for emotional clarity. So again, both the 22 and the 36 are both in emotional intelligence. It's the last two traits that we have here in emotional intelligence that we'll be covering. And then we move to innocence, the universal love, the spiritual warrior. Then we move to opinions in the 17, following and grounded in detail. And then we wrap up the month with control in the 21, biting through the hunter-huntress. This is the power of will. So today we are in the 22. That's what we're going to be exploring. We can see that we currently have the 22 in what's hidden. We also have it in the conscious core essence as well. You can see also we are still searching for inner truth and really getting connected with the inner truth, our inner truth with the 6124. You can also see we have the 1949 that is also currently defined as well. We've been taking a look at the 19 and the 49 not too long ago in taking a look at our needs, right? And if our needs aren't being met, it may cause a revolution as well. So just a preview of what's in store today. And talking about crisis, I did want to just give everybody a heads up. It's kind of like the weather forecast, right? It may or may not happen. Like in Colorado, I read some article that we're supposed to have 5 feet of snow this weekend. Whether that's going to happen or not, I doubt it, but I want to give you a little weather forecast for this weekend because we move into the 36 of crisis. We're going to be talking about this next week, but I just wanted to give you a heads up that we're moving into the 36 of crisis on Friday, March 12th. So just be aware and be prepared. It's beware the Ides of March. If you're not familiar with the Ides of March, this was the assassination of Julius Caesar on March 15th, which is the Ides of March, which we happen to be in crisis. So these are things that have happened on or around trait 36 in the month of March. So we had the Exxon Valdez oil spill in March 24th in 1989. We had the 3 Mile Island accident in March 28th of 1979. This is actually also on the 11th. This is the 10-year anniversary of Ra's passing. So that happened on March 11th, 2011. And also at that same time, the Japanese earthquake and tsunami also happened on March 11th, 2011 as well. And then last year, of course, the WHO declared COVID-19 a pandemic on March 11th, 2020, and Trump declared a national emergency on March 13th, 2020. So March 13th, 3 years ago, my father passed away. And then 2 years ago, we had a cyclone bomb snow blizzard on March 13th. And then last year we had the pandemic on March 13th. So again, just to have you be aware that we are moving into crisis. What's also interesting in moving into crisis is that we can see also this is March 12th when we move into it. Also, you'll see the 22, which we're going to be talking about today, is where the driving force is going to be. And also at 9:31 GMT on the 13th, the driving force also moves into trait 36. So just to kind of give you a little heads up on that. Is there anything any of our panel would like to say or mention as we're talking about the 36? I also wanted to talk about the environmental shift as well. We talked about quality 5 last week. This is very interesting because quality 4, we starts in March 10th and then goes out in March 14th. So it's really quick that we go through that and then we move right into quality 3. So I just thought that was interesting as well. And so we're moving into the 5-4 in the background frequency, the fixed pattern of hunger, right? Waiting as a guarantee for survival, and the future direction of the 35-4, which is progress and hunger. So I thought that was kind of interesting, the hunter and hunger as well. Kind of interesting. So it's very interesting that it's going to go through from the 10th through the 14th. So again, just kind of curious as to what's going to unfold at the end of this week. Again, it could be nothing, but it's always good to just kind of get a heads up. So anything any of our panel would like to share or add, or anything that you see before we move into talking more in depth about the 22?
Yes. Now, when I am here listening you about all the list, this list of things that happen, usually, yes, here, usually we tend to think that suddenly occur the things, no? Suddenly was the assassination, or suddenly the ship is fall down, but things don't occur suddenly. Those things occur. They give signals to you. If you think these things in your body, when you say suddenly I have an accident, or suddenly I was ill and happened something, but your body gives you signal and advice. If you can hear, if you don't hear, that is today is hearing this emotion he's feeling today, 22. No, we are talking about that. If you don't hear, well, you think that this was happening suddenly, but if you are hearing, you can be prepared, or avoid that in some cases.
Yes, exactly. There's usually some kind of buildup or some kind of precursor or some kind of, something that lets you know that that it may be on the way. And 36 of crisis, we'll talk more about this next week. And I was talking with one of my students, and we were talking about how this 36 really is, we think of crisis as something bad, and yes, it can be bad, but often it is a wake-up call. It's often a place where things change, where things mutate, where new things come in and old things go away. And so, yes, during the crisis, it can feel like a crisis and feel like something not so great. But on the other side, there's great learning, there's great mutation, there's great change. So I think it's really interesting that the 22 precedes the 36. One of the things that you'll see is that we have, I highlighted the 22s, with the 22 in the driving force, the 22 in values, the 22 in what's hidden, meaning that after the 22, there's going to be the 36 in all of these areas as well. So, in a sense, it opens us up, it prepares us for whatever the change or the mutation happens to be. So, I find it quite fascinating.
I wanted to mention too, to segue right between what both of you just said. Yes, I think that was a wonderful comment about the signals. There's energy moving as crisis per se develops, and sometimes the pending crisis is moved forward and doesn't have to actually be acted out when people are being aware or feeling what's going on, addressing what's going on, and even unconsciously sometimes if they're just moving with the energy, things don't have to build and come to true form. Just like a weather forecast, like you said, it might be 5 feet of snow, but chances are things will change in between now and then. And the other thing I was going to mention is it's spring. And crisis, when you say crisis is not always bad, if you think about winter and what crisis really is, it's a movement. It's a sort of a more fierce movement. And we're in springtime. The energy is moving, and that can push us, that can make us uncomfortable, that can be a relief. But it's springtime in all of what that means.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, beautifully said, Anna. Thank you for that.
I would also like to add something, because for me it feels like it's now we live in a week or days that I feel like a calm before the storm. I really feel everything is a little bit quiet and calm, and you feel something is coming. That's what I feel. But also when I then take a look at the past direction and the future direction, the fixed pattern, we are currently in a kind of fixed pattern. We are going a direction, and I really feel hungry for the future direction of progress. It's kind of like we are already in a year. It's about the pandemic. It's about just going one direction. It's like it feels like it's fixed. So I really hope that the crisis is bringing us progress and takes us forward from the fixed pattern into a new direction where things are going to change. So I'm really, really curious about in what way we are going to feel the awakening of, because things will maybe be cleared, or maybe we just see that the fixed pattern we were in is not the way we want to go. So maybe it's also a little bit hopeful thinking, but again, I feel something is coming. And like Juan Jose and Anna mentioned, the signals, I also feel that I'm really also attuned to things. I really listen to what people say, because also in the Netherlands, there will be an election. And there are lots of politicians talking on the radio and in TV shows, and just be attuned to what's going on, which kind of direction are we heading. So I find it also, again, very fascinating how everything plays out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And if we take a look at when this changes on March 12th, we still have this 1949, right? There may be a revolutionary way of doing things, or a revolution, or something that shifts things if people's needs aren't being met. We still have this search for inner truth that's also there. And we have this full channel of the experiential way moving from crisis to progress, right? So on the other side of crisis is this progress as well. So it feels like with the 22, it's this opening to listening for where mutation is possible or not, and when the audience is in the mood or not. So it's very interesting that 22 then precedes this 36 of crisis. Yeah, fascinating. Anything, Natalie, you would like to add before we move into 22, which you have twice in your design, and I believe Anna has twice in her design, and Juan Jose also has the 22 as well. So have a lot of 22 representation today.
Yeah, let's go there. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, because we had a lot of beautiful sharings about the times we're in.
Perfect. Perfect. So let's take a look at this openness, right? So 22, trait 22 is all about whoops, there we go. Well, there we go. There we go. Is all about openness. So it's grace and it's sharing spirit with others, right? If we take a look at that stream, on the other side of the stream is the 55 of spirit. So this is moving towards sharing a spirit with others. This is the emotional spirit conditions and how receptive others will be to mutation. Right. So again, we were talking about crisis earlier, right? It's kind of taking a look at what is the openness to mutation. And oftentimes what crisis is simply a change, right? And how open are people to that change or not? A quality of behavior best suited in handling mundane and trivial situations. You are a good listener. One of the things about the 22 is really about listening. And so the 22 is a very good listener with grace for handling social situations that is charmingly attractive. All right. So again, it's about listening. And in listening, you can also refine your timing and learn to release your truth precisely when society is ready for it, right? And it's refining your timing that's dependent on honoring your shifts in your mood. So this can also be very melancholy. I noticed when I woke up this morning, I had this really deep sense of melancholy. I have the 12 on the other side. I don't have the 22. And I felt sort of sad, sort of melancholy. So this is a part of this 22 of openness. Sometimes you're in the mood and sometimes you're not in the mood. Sometimes you feel a sense of melancholy and sadness. And that's the time to be alone with your creative muse, to really get into the depths of what that melancholy is, because there's creativity there as well. So this is the 22 of openness. So Natalie, I would love to hear, having 22 in your design a couple of times, how this shows up for you.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I don't have the 55, but from the stream, I also have the 39, right? So that is provoking the spirit. And then, you have the, yes, and that's actually my core essence. And then twice the 22. Yeah, and it's listening, and then I have both the emotional ear on the left and then the intuitive ear on the right with the 57. So it's something I say a lot in my classes. I was actually giggling when you just read it out. You're really attuned to listening, and it's something I say to the BG5 consultants in training often. A lot of what you do is listening.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much, yeah, we share about design and we analyze, etc., but you really attune to. And yeah, for me it's maybe more natural than for others, since I have it in my design, but attuned to what they are struggling with. And the beautiful thing between, or the difference actually between the 57, which is the intuitive right ear, you can listen between the lines what people are actually saying. And then with the 22, I see the 22 more as the attunement, listening to the emotional frequency, right? So it's more of a feeling listening. Yeah. So it's listening if people are open, right? Open to your whatever you mutative things you have to share. And then yourself, you also need to be in the mood, right? So I can have my days that I'm really out there, and I can have my days that I just say no. I'm not out there. And Linda is laughing out loud. She she really recognizes this. And yeah, the qualities are fascinating as well in this case, but let's just focus on the quality of today, because then we really go deep. But yeah, it's wonderful. And it's again so automatic, like it's something natural. I don't think that's something special, but apparently people recognize it in me, or my clients recognize it in me, or people come to me for me to listen to what they say, so I can my sister has is a self advisor, so needs to soundboard off me, right? And I have more people just coming to me, and then I just listen.
I love it. Yeah, great example. Thank you so much, Natalie.
Yes, it's a great example for what happened last week. We both three we three were talking, and Natalie, I was in a emotional and feeling, a strong feeling last week, and they perceive it. They perceive, and they say, how are you, Juan Jose? I say, but well, I say, well, I always say, well, but Karen asked me with the 12 and asked me the question and open my possibility to explain what happened to me. And we talk about that. Yes, it was a beautiful example.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thank you, Juan Jose.
In terms of BG5 and the career and business applications, I was a psychotherapist and body worker before I retired from that. And this is basically how I made my income, was through listening to people, listening to bodies and their signals, and listening in a protected environment, a special environment where people could mutate, transform. And I would, over the years, I noticed I would lean to hear a certain level of information, or lean the other ear to hear a certain level of information. And that was way before I knew BG5. But these are the ways that you can use your skills, your traits in the career and business application.
Yep, absolutely. Beautifully said, Anna. How about for you, Linda, in not having either of the traits, so you don't have either the 22 or the 12? I'm curious in your perceptions or what you see in the 22.
Well, yeah, because I work with Natalie a lot, I really, I just see it play out, and it's really beautiful how she can really listen to me and really also tune in on my emotions and really help me to get clarity about what I'm sharing with her. So I think it's a beautiful quality. It's a beautiful trait to have. And it's also, she's really also can change my mood when she shares her spirit and what she's enthusiastic about. So it's wonderful. And today I noticed with myself, because it's in the background, that I was with my mom. I went to visit some people that I knew for a while, and I haven't spoken to them for a while, I think 3 years. And I was just listening to them. They were so happy to see me and my mom, and they just were telling and sharing everything. And I really felt their emotions of their happiness about the new place they live in. And I've really felt myself being quiet, and I'm usually not that quiet. So yeah, I feel like I was also more attuned to their emotional frequency. And because I have the 5720, that's really that's really what I use also in working with clients, and my brain waves that show up every time. It's really nice to feel how the 22 plays out. And also I know one client, and he is brilliant in, he has the 22 and the 12 in verbally sharing things, for example, at a wedding, just speaking to the couple and just create a vibe of filled with emotions. So, and he really is able to listen to what people are doing in the audience, and then just play in the emotional frequency. So I really feel it's a beautiful quality, and that it's also in this time, in the time we live in, I think it's really important to be able to listen to each other's standpoints, because there is a lot of polarization, and to just listen to it and not immediately have an opinion, but just listen and to feel and to hear the emotional frequency, because everyone is speaking their truth. And I also noticed today we were talking about politics, and they had a different view on the politics as I do, but I just listened to them and just heard what their standpoint is, and what they feel is important, and just not having the how you say the need to interfere with my opinion. So yeah, that's what I feel.
Yeah, very powerful. And this trait, so you can kind of get a feel for, you may or may not have the 22. So for example, Alinda doesn't have the 22, but can still sense it, can still feel it, can kind of take advantage of listening during this time and during this week, while the background frequency is in the 22. You may have it activated, where it just is deepening that reflection of who you are. You may have what's on the opposite side. So for example, I have the 12, but I don't have the 22. It also happens to be one of my bridging traits as well. And so what does that connection feel like? So it's interesting to see, all the different ways that this 22 can show up. And again, it's very mutative as well. So it's, for me, it's sort of this, like I said, feeling very sort of melancholy, but also this connecting up to the 22 to be able to communicate or mutate again when in the mood. So yeah, exactly.
We
And,
have
yeah, go ahead, Natalie.
yeah, so we have on the Facebook we have Debbie, and Debbie has the full strength, and she shares my work as a loss and grief coach is a loss and grief coach. So this work works beautifully in her work, right? And also as a chaplain for South County Fire, I serve those who are having the worst day of their life, from the loss of their loved one, from the loss of their loved one. One thing I have noticed is when I show up on the scene with the fire department and police, they feel calm and relieved for the support. It's energy, isn't it? And also, she just created a program called Inner Work of Grief, using human design as a tool, along with the art of the work of human design. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Really powerful. No, thank you for sharing that. Yeah. So you may have the entire strength too, and taking a look at where you can listen to what is needed, right? And what is needed emotionally. Because as Natalie was saying, on the opposite side, right, we have the 57, which is, the intuitive clarity. This is, in a sense, the emotional clarity, the emotional openness or not. Yeah, really beautiful.
And I think it's really important to validate and give people permission to not be in the mood to be social.
Yes.
When I found that out, I mean, I kind of operated that way, but when I officially had some permission, I was like, oh, that's so great. Because I remember an incident when I was about 14. I was learning the guitar and I was at a family reunion, and one of my great aunts was like, oh, come, will you play us a song in this? And I did not want to. But the pressure, his family, this and that. So I played it, but it was terrible. I was not in the mood, didn't go off well. And years later, maybe 6 years, I was in my 20s, and the same thing happened, different, same family, but different member said, oh, will you do such and such? And by then it was like, nope, I am not in the mood. And it was interesting to be able to feel empowered to say no, especially to a great aunt, an authority or whatever, and it was equally empowering. That's what I discovered. It was equally empowering, not only just to myself, but to her. She was like, oh, and realized she could be respectful of that.
Yep.
So that's just a personal example.
Exactly. And it's honoring your shifting moods, right? It's honoring when you're in the mood and when you're not in the mood, and having the permission to not have to socially engage if you're not in the mood. And when we take a look at the quality, we're currently in quality 3, which is the Enchanter. Remember, quality 3 is always the pioneer as well. And this is perfected grace. So the elevation is the possibility for perfected openness through the alignment of emotional energy and awareness. Because remember, this is also an awareness function as well. So it's also emotional awareness. Form as a definition and actualization of substance. We also have on the other side the challenge, which is the innate openness, the unconscious grace, and the over-reliance on the mechanics of style that can abort potentially significant relationships as well. Right? So on the other side of grace, perfected grace, there is also disgrace as well. So again, when you are in the mood, it can be perfected grace. When you're not in the mood, it can end up being a disgrace. Yeah. Any thoughts, perspectives? I know, Natalie, and you have it in, I believe, quality 4 and
Yeah. Juan Jose as well, and I have quality 1 as well.
quality 4 and 1.
Yeah.
And Juan Jose, I'm also really curious because you have it as your unconscious core essence, and so I was wondering how that shows up with you, for you, in such a prominent position as part of your unconscious core essence.
You're still muted. Yeah.
Yes, now.
Go.
It's a process of taking conscious, because it's a process. For me, it's all the emotional is unconscious, and I need to talk about with someone. See, if I can talk about with someone, it's not easy to understand what what I'm feeling. On, but for do that, Anna said something very very important in this context. Is you need an environment and secure environment to be open and to be um, to, 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 to open what you are feeling, to tell what you are feeling. If you are not in the right environment, you say, no, I am well. I am well. It's okay. But the other persons understand that it's not okay. This is the vibration, this is the energy of the emotions, but you cannot speak with everybody. You need the right environment and the right person, no? And that is a long process because not every time you find the right person and the right environment. This is a long process to understand what you are hearing and what you understand.
Right, exactly. And this goes along with emotional intelligence as well. Emotional intelligence is about waiting. And if you have intelligence defined, it is about waiting for that clarity. It is waiting until you're in the mood when we're talking about the 22. And it's about, making sure, like you said, having the right environment and the right timing to be able to feel okay in sharing, have it be a safe place to be able to share.
We have another Facebook sharing, really beautiful. So Charmaine also has the 22/5, and she says, as very individual 5/1 emotional innovator, I find myself in many situations with strangers who are impacted by something I say or do when I observe something and speak up. I forget what I've said almost immediately, but sometimes I meet them again and they remind me. It can be months later. That
Really
is also
beautiful.
something. The individual energy is in the now. It's there, or it's not there, it's not there, and then it's there, right? But it's in the now. And then she also says people tend to reveal deep feelings and thoughts to me and are often surprised themselves by what they share. When I'm in a social mood, their connections can be lovely and meaningful, brief but profound.
Really beautiful. Yeah, thank you so much, Charmaine. Thank you for your input. That's beautiful.
Is a beautiful example of the impact of the innovators. It's the impact
Yes.
in the individual with this channel also. It's a very big impact in the individual.
Yes, and this is an innovator's strength as well. And so with the innovator's strength, there's only two career types that have this particular strength. So either an innovator like Charmaine or an express builder could also have this strength as well. I think Tuck, one of our instructors, she has this strength as well as an express builder. So express builders and innovators are the only two career types that would actually have this strength of the 22 2212. Yeah, of socialness. It's the strength of socialness or not, right? Being social or not. Exactly. And the celebrity that we have is Chuck Norris. So he's a martial arts actor, and the life fork theme is rulership. And Juan Jose, you have the same life fork theme as well, correct?
Yes.
Of or at least of rulership. It may be it's
Yes,
slightly
not in the
different.
same place. It's the same place of my son.
Right, exactly. So you have a natural sense of position and rule with grace for listening, and your greatest responsibility is to educate those in your kingdom. You are healthiest when you have someone or something to rule. And Chuck Norris had the grace in his martial arts. He was an American martial arts actor, artist, a film producer, screenwriter. And after serving in the United States Air Force, Norris won many martial arts championships. And in Hollywood, he started off by training celebrities in martial arts, and then he became an actor as well, and later became a popular action film star as well with the 22. And you can see it. He has it in the open emotional intelligence, but again, it is part of his life work theme of rulership. Love it.
Beautiful. And then nicely trialing and erroring it out, right?
Right, exactly, with the three of trial and error, and again, also this perfected grace, you know,
Yeah.
in the movements of martial arts. It's really beautiful.
It's beautiful, but I have to really laugh about the picture because I really feel like he is listening. But I don't feel like he's listening before he's shooting or something. I just feel like he's going to shoot. I don't know. Or he's just attuned to your emotional frequency, and then he says, "Okay, I'm going to attack you." Yes, something like that. So, yeah, it's wonderful.
Love it. Love it. Well, beautiful. Well, I would love to hear. I'm going to just kind of go through just how you can get more information, but I would love to hear. So, preparing everyone for also, if you're listening via Facebook or live in our Zoom room, would love to hear sort of our, you know, your wrap up or thoughts on what to pay attention this week, how to be prepared for the crisis ahead or not, and what this openness or what this listening or what this being social or not is all about for you. So again, if you are interested in finding out more information about BG5 or looking at your own design to know, do you have the 22 or not? You can download your free personalized chart. If you go to the BG5businessinstitute.com, you can find your free career design chart. You can download your chart. You can also join us live via Facebook or in our Zoom room every week on Tuesday. You can also watch the past episodes of BG5 Live, or you can find out what the trait is for the day by taking a look at BG5 Live. And of course, we have courses that are coming up in May. So our new semester is getting ready to start here in May. So we're still about a month out or so. So plenty of time to check it out and prepare. So would love to have you join us. So to wrap everything up, what are some thoughts? What are some things for people to pay attention to? What should people notice, or any ahas, or anything that anyone would like to share to really wrap up what Trait 22 is all about? Who
Pay
would like to
attention
start?
of what you are feeling. This is the 22. Pay attention, listening what you are feeling. Yes, listening
Yes.
what.
Paying attention to what you're feeling and waiting. That's another important thing,
Yes,
right?
and wait.
Even yeah, exactly. Waiting for clarity. Do not make decisions on emotional highs, on emotional lows. Whether you have emotional intelligence defined or not, making decisions from a place of emotional unclarity uh, can lead to crisis. So love that. Anything else, Juan Jose? Thank you for being here and thank you for joining us today.
No, thank you very much to you for the invitation. Thank you.
Yeah, great to have you here.
Yeah, so I'm just curious what 5 feet of snow or our government is going to bring us with the crisis. So I really what stuck in my mind is the initial conversation of that you can feel it, that you can feel something coming, right? That you can feel that you have signs, right? So maybe being aware of that, you have an attuned feeling now. So what are the signs showing up? So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, with crisis too, one of the things that's always important, we're talking about, waiting for emotional clarity. Oftentimes in crisis, is really trusting your own decision-making strategy and not making, snap decisions or emotional decisions, like really trusting yourself is what's also going to keep you safe as well.
Well, I'm going to add something. Charmaine says, and feel the 22. Don't analyze with the head and exercise patience.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Yes. So it is about feelings. It is about emotion. It is about allowing yourself to feel. Oftentimes we can make emotions and feelings wrong or bad or um or not recognize them, in the proper way. So I love that, don't try to figure out what the emotions are or why they are. Just allow yourself to feel the emotions. I love that. How about for you, Anna?
I would say allow yourself the full range of emotions, because
Mm,
we select which ones are right or wrong or what we're comfortable with or not. And part of the way I understand the 22 is not only is it right timing, but it takes time to understand that level of grace. It takes maybe decades to really understand, experience what it's like when you're not in the mood and you go forward anyway, or when you're in the mood and something brilliant happens. That it's your decision making strategy will really help you with that. And allow yourself to go through the moods, experience them. And a lot of the moods are going to be in the field. They're if you're open, they're not all yours. You're going to be
mm,
receiving information. And I guess the little tidbit I'd like to leave is there is grace in crisis as well.
mm. Yeah, exactly. I've heard the saying grace under pressure, right? So even when things are chaotic and crazy and emotional, part of that grace is being able to, be with what is and move through it with grace, right? That perfected grace, the enchanter. Yeah, beautifully said. How about for you, Linda?
Well, there are lots of things that are so beautifully shared already, but what I would like to emphasize is be aware. Also, what Anna said, it's also the background. It's not all yours. Like for me, with not having the emotional intelligence defined, it's really, for me, important to be aware that I can feel differently than I usually do
Mm,
and not make decisions from the mind because I feel emotional or feel, yeah, pressurized to do so in a kind of way. And I also feel that we can benefit from it in these times because there is polarization. There are things going on, and maybe you feel extra emotional about what's going on in the world. It will be things, yeah, in when we are going to the crisis, darkening to light, I feel that we can feel emotional
mm,
moving towards the crisis. And it's important to really feel with our bodies and our own decision-making strategies in what way we can navigate through those emotional times because they are intense.
yeah,
And also be aware of the potential of the grace, the positivity that it can bring, even if it feels a little bit shaky or emotional in a kind of uncomfortable way. So,
right.
yeah, be aware.
Yeah, beautifully said, Linda. Beautifully said. Yeah, so pay attention, feel the emotions. Again, watch where you're trying to make decisions from the mind. Again, if you have emotional intelligence undefined, you don't want to have those emotions make your decisions. If you are emotionally defined, you want to make sure that you wait for that clarity and allow the emotions to be what they are and listen. I think that was one of the big messages for today as well, is listening for the signs, listening to others, listening when you're in the mood and being okay to not listen, and to be by yourself with your own creative muse when you're not in the mood. And so, allowing things to unfold. So it will be it'll be interesting to see. I'll let you know next week if we get our 5 feet of snow, which like I said, which I doubt, but that's what they said. Anyway, so thank you so very much, and thank you for everyone that has contributed. And again, stay safe, follow your decision-making strategy, and we look forward to seeing you all next week. Thanks, everyone. And let me get our Moxie, of course, has to say goodbye as well. All right, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you very much.
See you next week. Bye-bye.
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 Thank you.
Was waiting for it.
Yeah. Moxie was also listening.
Exactly. All right, everyone. Bye-bye.